This is All Robotics Competitions, and I'm your host, Kiril Mitov. Today, we organize a new installment of our series where we discuss a very interesting competition. With me is our good friend Manos. Manos is the president of Hellenic Educational Robotics Organization, and we met each other a couple of months ago, I think, where we were surprised by the number and the quality of robotics competitions that they're organizing and the many different categories. So we got in touch with Manos. We had a short discussion before this podcast, and I learned a lot of interesting things that I feel we should also share with you. So Manos, thanks for being with us.
Hello, Kiril. Thank you very much for the kind invitation. Thank you very much for this exceptional meeting and talk we had some days ago before this podcast. It is my pleasure to present the Hellenic Educational Robotics Organization competitions in your channel. It's a total pleasure for us to meet and discuss about the competitions.
Thanks, Manos. I'll let you walk us through it, how it is organized, and what's special about the robotics categories that you are organizing competitions for.
Generally, HERO, which is a short term of the Hellenic Educational Robotics Organization, organizes many competitions, but there is the biggest one, the Global Olympiad, the Minoan Robotsports competition. You can meet about 16 sport categories, 16 different sports, and then the teams, the athletes, they have got to design, manufacture, program, and run an athlete robot in one or even 16 different sports if they would like to do so. In the spirit of the Olympic Games, in the place where the Olympic Games were born.
Oh yes, and that was what's really interesting because it follows the athletics categories in the Olympics, but this time it is with robots, all kinds of robots, and it's the best robot that wins, and in the same time it's in the same place where the Olympics were formed in Greece, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Generally, the idea is to simulate the movements and the trials that the athletes, the real athletes, are doing during the sports in the Olympic Games. We will try to introduce as many as we can for the sports category of the Olympic Games. Now, currently, we've got 16 different sports, with the most popular being the football, the wrestling, the rally, and the marathon games. We are really open regarding the rules that the teams they have to follow. Generally, the idea is to simulate the movement of the athlete by using more or less whatever they would like to use in the manufacturing of the robots. It's not necessary to follow a specific robotic kit or a specific company for preparing your robot, and generally there are some rules regarding the dimensions and the weight of the robots so as to make the competence between the teams as fair as we can.
And is there an age limit, or what's the general age of the participants in the competition?
That's a good question, because we are not expecting from all ages to prepare the same robots or have the same knowledge regarding robotics and engineering. So normally there are some age differences, the age categories through the sport. So you will see an introduction of teams from 9 years old until 12 years old, and then you will see the 13 to 18 age category, which are the high school kids, and in some categories also as much as we can, because the time to organize this event is too short for all these categories. We are also introducing some adult categories too, so for mostly for students in universities, or why not to us too.
Okay, so let's summarize. Here are Olympic sport categories, but this time with robots. And this is for students between 9, 12, then 13, 18, and even older that are part of a university, where you can build a robot with all kind of sets, as long as the robot is the best. And how do you have any requirements and limitations for the robots apart from the size that you mentioned?
You will find in our website that the rules are there are 16 fundamental rules for each sport. It's totally hard to describe you all the rules during this conversation, but more or less I've got to say that the most rules have to do about the weight and the dimensions of the robots, and not so much about what we are going to use or any other restrictions regarding what we are going to make. Of course, in some categories you will see that there are also differences and also other categories regarding the weight, because in some sports it's very crucial to differ from the robot weight or the robot dimensions. But more or less, I'd like to say that the generally idea is to not restrict whatever it's going to produce imagination. It's going to bring imagination from the competitors, because we want the children and generally the teams to come to the competition with new ideas, because this is the tricky way of the competition. You will see also in some of my pictures, I have gathered some pictures from the competition, from the most popular sports category of the last MRC. That was the wrestling, the rally, the marathon, and the soccer, the football one. So you will see, for example, for the football
Let's start with the categories, because we've discussed with you before this recording that there's simply no time to describe all the categories, so we should have a number of recordings, and we decided to stick to some, like 2, 3, even 4, if there is enough time, of the most popular. Let's start with one so that we can give our viewers some understanding of one of the popular categories in the competition, in the competitions organized by Hero.
I'll try to be as short as possible, because I know the time it's hard to follow all the categories. So normally for the soccer one, which is the first one, and I think one of the most popular, if not the most popular in the competition, we've got 3 robots versus 3 robots. We've got some combinations of teams. Generally the restriction is just the weight and the dimension. So and some other restrictions regarding if you can catch the ball or if you can hit your opponent or something like this. You will see that there is no difference between the robotics kits. That makes no sense. You can radio control your robots. In this picture you will see that some robots from different companies, manufacturers, are on the same stage and they're competing, and that's no problem for us.
So you can have on the same field playing football, different robots from different sets.
Yeah.
So I see leg robots here, and this is an EV3 robot. You can have a spike, and you can have other kinds of robots, right?
That's correct, and you can also combine this, if this is possible, from the different manufacturers, or you can add pieces in your current robotic kit. I think there is a picture later that you will see that
and
the teams have.
Are these remote control robots, or you program them and you run the program, or
no,
you
these are remote controlled from the team players.
For the football, it's remote control.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
So that's why you see the laptops and the player from each team to be opposite to each one. So generally, this is the stage. I don't know if you can see my point here.
Yes,
this is the stage. That's the stage of the sport category, and there you will see the one team to sitting with their laptops to remotely control the robots, and from the other side it's the other team. So we've got 3 players versus 3 players with 3 robots versus 3 robots. The idea is to place a goal in 10 minutes without stopping the time, without touching your robot. Only the referee has this ability to do that during the 10 minutes. And you cannot hit or block your opponent, and you cannot keep the ball, let's say, prisoned in order to move it to the field.
So you have to push on the ball.
Yeah, you've got to push the ball like a normal football player. I think also that's a foul in the normal football. If you catch the ball and keep it between your legs, I'm not sure because I'm not. You can see that I'm not the best football player.
Come on.
So I'm not so sure if. But I think it's a foul also in the football. So that's why we are following this rule. You've got to hit the ball and push it forward in order to place a goal to the opponent team. Also here you will see some robots having been turned around, or some other robots from other kids, also with metal parts on. We have generally seen from other competitions or trials and what's on that it doesn't make very serious competence problems between the teams if we are having such a large variety of robots. Generally, it's not a rule that the most heavy robot is going to win, the most lower weight is going to win, or what's on. It's generally it's engineering. It's a real engineering idea. That's why we let them as free as we can.
How do they prepare? Like, when do they start preparing for the competition? Is this like a after-class activity, or they're mostly organized by their parents, by school, by some club? How do they get to register and participate in the competition?
Generally, we are open to come to the competition regardless if you are a professional, let's say, team, or from a school, or from an after-school activity, or what's all. You can also, as a parent, get your children, act from your neighborhood like a team, and prepare your robot to come to the competition. But okay, of course, as you understand, that's not the rule. Normally, most of teams are from after-school
classes, activities.
Yeah, that's something like this. I don't know how it's from the other countries, but generally in the wider area of Europe, that's the main rule. So most of the children are coming from their private school, from their school, from the after-school activities.
So if a teacher would like to form a team, it's generally enough for them to visit your website, to understand more about the rules, to register, and then prepare a team of students for this game. I think 3, right? Because you have 3 robots.
No, for the soccer it's not necessary to prepare 3 different robots. They can also come with 1 robot, and they are going to have some alliances with other teams. So normally in the soccer, in the football, the winner, it's not 1 team, it's an alliance of 3 teams. But also, if a team wants to act with 3 robots, that's possible, or there's no problem with that.
That's an interesting decision. So even if you have only 1 robot in your classroom and 2 or 3 students that would like to join an interesting robotics competition playing football, you can come to the competition and they can participate, and there will be other teams there, and they would form an alliance, and in this way they participate and compete against other robots. And other teams.
That's true. So normally we act with alliances in the football.
Okay, tell us about another category, or is there a video here?
Yeah, but just a robot making some trials, I think, or some movements. I wanted to show that there are some actuators there to shoot the ball.
Okay, football is great. Football is great.
It's the most popular. I think it has the most passion in the competition. I think that the next one could not be any other than marathon, because it's the most historical sport worldwide. So it's the classic marathon is
Okay,
also
so
the Olympic Games.
let me just step back. Football. Let's say that someone wants to participate in the competition as you're organizing it. When is the starting date for the competition? When do you organize it?
The next one for the next year is going to be from 26th of April of 2024 until 29th of April 2024. But the registrations are going to open later in the summer. I think it's going to be from July and later.
So would it be fair to say that the competition will be organized in April 2024?
That's correct.
Okay, because we are recording this in 2023, so there's some time to pass there. And if you are watching this in 2025, like, just go to the website and check. And the next one is marathon, right?
Yeah, that's correct. The most classic sport.
The most classic
worldwide.
one is.
So
Like,
it's also there is also some classic rules on this. So in the robotic version, marathon, it's more or less a follow line procedure. So also here you will not know. I think here there are some differences regarding robotic kits. So the Legos one have their own category. And also there are some differences regarding the ages. So you've got some Lego categories from 9 to 12 and Lego category 13 to 18, and also non-Lego categories in the same age categories, 9 to 12 and 13 to 18. I think this is mostly regarding the weight, because Legos are a little bit heavier than
yes,
non-Lego kits.
they cannot compete with lighter robots, because the lighter robots are much faster.
Yeah, of course.
Even if you build a perfect algorithm, it's just difficult, because it's like a 1 kilogram robot against 100 grams.
Yeah, for example, I think this one here couldn't be more than 300 or 500 grams, because that's a non-Lego robot. So normally you will see that the total weight is much more or less. So it's easier for it to move faster in the stage. Normally, this is the idea. Okay, when we have to make it fair, we make it fair. That's no problem for us. I have also prepared some photos. Normally, that's more non-Lego, from the non-Lego, because are a little bit more fascinating. They got some strange designs and so on. Generally, the stage is announced while getting closer to the event. You will see from the website that the stage can have some sharp turns, can have some cross sections, or any other lines that you will see that made the stage being prepared. But normally you will see the stage getting closer to the event and not earlier. So you will have to program your robot in a general way, let's say, and not in a specific field, in an exact specific field.
Yes, because you don't know the field before you get to the competition, and when you get to the competition, you know the field and you can compete on the field. And
you know more or less what we are going to see in the competition, but
of course,
you will not see.
General purpose program that should allow you to follow the line.
Yeah,
Are there
that's
any
correct.
gaps in this line?
As far as I remember, no. You will find
Okay.
cross sections, but you will not find any gaps.
Okay, so marathon is a section where you follow the line and you can use all kinds of robots, but there is a separation in different categories of robots participate because of the weight differences, and there is one for the Lego robots because they are quite popular, and one for other robots that are probably much lighter than the Lego robots.
That's
And
correct.
it's a long line. It's a real marathon. I can see here from the picture.
Yeah,
That's
and I think that it was the smallest version that we chose
hmm
for this
hmm
year, and it was without any sharp edges and without cross section. We would like to make it easy.
hmm
I don't
hmm
know how it's going to be for the next year.
Was it easy? Was it easy for the students that were participating?
Yeah, I think that there are many students that they followed the line correct, and yeah, I believe it's the entry level with enough interest about the ideas and how to follow a line.
hmm hmm Very interesting. And again, how do you start preparing for such a competition? Where do you start from?
Let's say that the first moves have nothing to do with the competition, because normally the idea is to, Greece is a heteristic place, and Crete also, when we are accommodating the MRC, is also one of the most well-known touristic place worldwide. So normally we are starting to prepare the competition from reaching the experience of the trip, because we don't
hmm
want just the teams to come here and just have the competition. Generally, the idea of the Olympic Games is not only the sport of the Olympic Games, it's also the alliances, the friendships, the nice part to see through the history, to see how was in the oldest year.
hmm
So generally, the first steps are to prepare in order to have the 2,000 of about 2,000 and a half people for the next year. That's why
hmm
we are going to open the registrations from the summer, from the July, because it's not easy to organize the event without having uh, the accommodation ready for the people
hmm
that are coming across
hmm
the whole world.
Of course, of course. Manus, that was great. I know that you've prepared a couple of more categories that you can walk us through, but I think we should end here on a cliffhanger, and we should leave the others for the next time, because we are almost approaching 25 minutes. What do you say?
Yeah, that's correct. That's perfect. I'll be here. I'm
What
available
are
whenever you want.
what are the next categories that you would introduce us to?
Was prepared about wrestling and rally, which are closing the four most popular categories from the MRC.
Okay, wrestling and rally. So everybody, if you want to learn more how you can participate in competitions with robots that are wrestling or doing a rally, this will be in some of the next installments of our All Robotics Competitions podcast. Manus, thanks for being with us.
It
Thanks for
was my
sharing
pleasure.
this interesting information about the competitions, and I hope that next time we can get to wrestling, which I think will be my favorite.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Okay,
Perfect.
see you. Thanks,
Thank you very
Manus.
much.
See
Have a nice
everybody. See
afternoon.
you next time.